The comments, opinions, and views shared during this program are of those individual Freemasons and do not reflect the official position of a Grand Lodge, Concordant Body, Appendant Body, Masonic Authority, or CraftsmanOnline.com. Welcome to the Craftsman Online Podcast, the only 5-star rated Masonic podcast endorsed by the Grand Lodge of New York.
Hey, welcome back. It's Right Worshipful Brother Michael Arce, and you've joined us for an episode on my Masonic journey as we catch up with Brother Luis Diaz, who my relationship with him extends a couple years now, thanks to the Craftsman Online podcast, but his relationship with our fraternity began some time ago as a Scottish Rite Mason who was a member of an irregular Grand Lodge and found it very difficult living in the United States now, trying to affiliate with a Grand Lodge. And we connected with him a couple years ago. He went on to become one of our most listened to podcast episodes for 2023 as we bring him back in to catch us up on where he's now. Brother Luis Diaz, mi hermano, welcome back to the Craftsman Online podcast.
Thank you, Brother Michael Arce, and I'm going to say properly this time.
Nice.
I'm going to say properly this time. Brother Michael Arce, it's a pleasure, a privilege, and an honor being here, being back here again, and share some of my crazy stories that I have.
I know. It's hard to believe it's been a year since your last visit on the podcast. For our listeners' benefit, the last time that we talked, we had shared the story about how you and I started corresponding through the Craftsman Online podcast, basically a little post-pandemic. That was during your time you were relocating to South Austin, Texas. So it's been a while. What have you been up to?
It was funny because looking for the email to get onto the recording session, I saw the emails that we sent from the very beginning. And the one that it came up is like, hey, hermano, they responded when they first answered back to me, like, hey, come on down to have dinner at the lodge and all that. And that brought me memories from the very beginning when we start talking. And when I submit my petition, that's when I learned. And all the brothers were like, who's this guy? And they start calling you to ask you about who am I? And I've been working on my work. I'm a father. I have another baby in the making. It's coming. My second baby is coming.
You've been busy this year. Wow.
Yep, that's a way to put it. Yeah, we've been busy here. Of course, as a good Master Mason, I joined a couple other appendant bodies that now I have to deal with time between my family, my work, my Masonic work, my reading, and life in general. But somehow I managed. And this is something that's, like there's no way you can do it without the support of your family. So for that, I'm really happy about it. And I switched jobs too. Right now I'm working in another company. And yeah, I mean, life has been busy. It's been very interesting. It's very happy and content what it's going on. I'm looking forward to everything that is ahead of me.
Yeah, I think the last time we spoke, at least podcast-wise, you were getting ready to do your fellowcraft degree. You were an entered apprentice, and you were going through the catechism process. Then you got that Master Mason's degree. I remember getting that text message or WhatsApp message is how you and I communicate. And my heart was just like exploding with joy and happiness. And the picture that you sent me, I could just see, it was like, finally, like when a runner crosses the finish line, you're like, yes, woo, got this. So he's a brand new brother of Onion Creek Lodge 220. They've been making Masons since 1858. They just made one 2 years ago with our brother here. And I want to talk about some of the differences that you've kind of experienced now as an official Texas Freemason. One of the differences between our home jurisdictions, me being a New York Mason, you being a Texas Mason, is that you are in a mouth-to-ear jurisdiction. So tell me how that degree study work was like and what challenges that might have presented on your way to going through your proficiency.
The first thing is that I want to highlight on this is the support that I have from all my brothers, especially, and I'm going to give a special shout out to brother Dennis Ross and Christopher Dawson and Ricardo Avila and Raul Javier Esculi. He's going to hate it because I pronounce it wrong on purpose. My brother Raul Javier Esculi. And basically all the brothers over there in the lodge but especially my main teacher, it was Dennis Ross. And as you know, for work, I tend to travel a lot. He was with me all the time. It's mouth to ear, so you cannot do Zoom calls or you can do any video conference, but you can do phone calls. I was landing on, I don't know, in some part of Latin America, texting, "Hey brother, I just land. I'm gonna be in my hotel within 45 minutes. I know we have time difference. Are you awake? I'm up. I'll wait for you." So I was running to the hotel, check in, "Brother, I'm here. All right, let's practice." That's how I was able to go through all that. And then they were probably the biggest challenge, as like probably people didn't notice this. It was my accent, how to pronounce things. Um,
Okay.
I know my work. I was they helped me. They helped me to correct my pronunciation and to make sure that everything is according to Texas standards. And boy, it wasn't suffering there, trying to going through the learning process. But Dennis was a, a, um, a great teacher, very patient with me. The brothers were helping me all the time. And the first time when I was sitting on the chair to present my work as an EA going to fellowcraft, I remember I timed it. And that's the longest one. It was 23 minutes and 42 seconds. And it's questions and answers. And I used to do music before, so I'm not scared of speaking in public or doing things like that. But that day on that chair, I think I sweat more than when I go to work out. It was a nervous wracking moment. And then after I submit my master work, I have the ceremony, and then I had to do another class that would allow you to be certified. You are a master mason in good standing with Onion Creek 220 and the Grand Lodge of Texas. Now, like the infomercials, right? But wait, there is more. And all dependent bodies comes in, right? and it's like, wait, hold a minute.
What's funny about that is where a lot of our experiences, there's going to be subtle or slight differences. That is a very common one. And I do want to get to that in a little bit, how they jump on you for that. But
yeah, it's fine. I have some stories about that too.
was your proficiency done in open lodge in front of all the brethren, or just in front of your ritual advisor or your Masonic mentor?
No, they prepare you in a room, the study room. So you're with two or three brothers. And then when you're ready, we open lodge and you present the work.
Okay.
Like right now, for example, today, as soon as we're done here, I have lodge and I have a brother that is going to submit his EA, and then we have practice of the ritual. So we that have to be by memory too, and how to walk, how many steps you have to do, how to go. It's a whole performance things that we practice all the time in different degrees.
It's one of the differences, and that's what was kind of a challenge, because I know I would try to reach out to you when you were going through your proficiency study, because you were doing mouth to ear, which I, having been a New York Freemason and now a DC Freemason, we have the benefit of the coded cipher books. So I can always look at a piece of paper and go, oh yeah, that's what that word. I couldn't imagine having to rely on the world's longest game of telephone back with, another person. That would have been really tough for me. But it was also difficult because you'll know, and I know, that our ritual is set up differently. There are certain, yes, phrases and words that are consistent between the jurisdictions, but you might be talking about the experiences differently because it could have been portrayed differently. And I would just have to hear it and go, oh, okay, that was, Brother Luis's experience going through this. This is what we say. This is how we do it in New York. And this is completely different on how we do it here in the nation's capital in DC. But that's what makes Freemasonry unique. I'm curious, because you came from an irregular lodge and had kind of a healing process by becoming a regular Freemason, do you feel that having that other ritual, that clandestine ritual behind you, did you feel like that was not helpful at all? Or was it somewhat helpful in that you had kind of a structure of how to learn proficiency ritual?
First of all, I was initiated in the Scottish Rite, and here is York. The degrees the first 3 degrees have something similar but different at the same time. In my experience, coming from the the lodge before in California. There were non-recognized Masons in the States, but they were recognized in other parts of the world. Those degrees, I don't know if because we were Latinos, but they were more dramatic. I can tell you that hands out. Very dramatic. And I love it.
Real tears were shed.
Yeah, absolutely. That's for sure. And they were very dramatic, right? So the teachings are kind of similar, but in a different way present. And on in all three degrees, the symbolism is kind of is similar, but in a different way. It's very hard to express it or put it in words. If someone, I don't know who's listening, right? So mostly are Masons, but it's somebody that is a non-Mason is just listening to this. I don't want to give anything away, because there's some difference in the ritual. There's some similarities. Each one of them have their own beauty, and it have the way they present it. They present the lessons, the way that they present the words and the meaning and the esoteric part and the philosophy behind it. They all have their own beautiful part. I'm lucky enough that I had both experiences. And right now, I'm looking forward to actually, I think it's going to Louisiana or Oklahoma, that they're performing the first 3 degrees in the Scottish Rite that I am dying to go and see. Because that's where I learned, that's where I come from. And my whole deal of going into True Masonic Line and joining Onion Creek 220, it was to start going into a regular Masonic lodge, and I wanted to go to a regular Scottish Rite appendant body. And right now, I am part of the Austin Scottish Rite. There, I met other brothers from other parts of the world coming almost from the same experience that I had. I have some friends that are from Valle de Mexico. I have some friends that are from Cuba. I have some friends that are from Venezuela. So some brothers are from Venezuela. All Scottish Rites. And when we talk about the experience and the degrees and all that, we speak the same language. It's the same thing that it was presented to me. It was presented to the brothers in Mexico, in Venezuela, and in Cuba. We want to study all that, and we want to go to see those degrees, to see if what we were taught, it was true, or what are the differences. And that's part of the journey. And in my opinion, both sides have their own beauty. I will say go and experience it.
The Craftsman Online podcast is now sponsored by BricksMasons.com, our favorite destination for all of our Masonic shopping needs. Whether it's apparel for yourself or a cool gift idea for another brother, make BricksMasons.com your online marketplace where tradition meets innovation. Enhance your attire and make a statement with Bricks Masons' unique and stylish new Masonic lapel pins. These are pretty cool, meticulously crafted with precision and attention to detail. These pins are made from high-quality materials for lasting durability, and they feature just about every color and every Masonic body or theme or topic or design you'd ever want. For example, they have the esoteric, the traditional style pins, and then the fun ones like Flintstones, Homer Simpson, Darth Vader, even the Yoda pin. You can find a perfect pin that beautifully reflects your Masonic pride and heritage at BricksMasons.com. Visit BricksMasons.com and explore their extensive catalog. Elevate your Masonic experience with style and substance. Plus, Craftsman Online podcast listeners use promo code CRAFTSMAN, that's CRAFTSMEN, at checkout to enjoy free shipping with your first order. I found coming to DC and going through the chairs of my lodge here in DC, become the master of the lodge, I had to learn all the opening and closing on all 3 degrees and know all of the parts for that degree. So I had a foundation from New York Freemasonry, which is Preston Webb, and it's very similar, except there are differences. I still have it to this day. I work with my immediate past master to try to purge out, as I call them, the clandestine words of New York ritual that just have been drilled into my head so deep. I have to get them out and go, I can never unlearn them, and I don't want to. but I need to respect that when I'm in this chair doing this job with this hat on, I need to be saying the words that are appropriate for this jurisdiction. I wondered that, you had a lot of challenges and you just, blazed right through them and didn't see it as a deterrent at all, which is really impressive to your character. And I'm really moved about that. So I'm smiling because I'm also thinking you led to it. What was it like? Being raised at Onion Creek Lodge, how was that different than in your previous group? Did you also have the old guys from the north that came over and grabbed you and tried to give you petitions to affiliate in the other bodies in your previous lodge? Or was that just something we do here in the States?
No, that's something unique to the States. No, but but the difference, the biggest difference from being raised here is, well, the first one is that my father was my other lodge, so my father raised me
Mm.
on my other lodge. That was the first difference. And again, this is, I don't want to give anything away on the ritual or anything, right? But my second raise, all right, it got done by a man that I admire a lot. I know his history, and it has a great character, and it's something that I look up to as as somebody that is a Mason, that has the uprightness of conduct, to conduct himself as a Mason, and is George Moxley. He was the one who raised me as a Master Mason, and by the moment and everything that is being done at that moment, it has their own beauty, right? And the first one, it was different. It has a dramatic part, and one of the most important parts, it was that my father was the one who raised me. And on this one, I had a good group of brothers, people that I care and I love them a lot. And having brother Moxley being the one who raised me and all that, I mean, that was a special moment for me too. Again, what is happening in the race of a Master Mason and the York, right? It has their own beauty. It has its own magic, because it has a part that is also dramatic. And the drama in that part, in that instant, in that moment, and all the Master Masons here know exactly what I'm talking about. That moment has their own fire too. A little bit different than what I went through, but it has their own fire and it has their own lesson, and it has a special meaning to me too. So I'm not taking, and I think I said this the first time that we spoke on the podcast. I'm trying to take that mindset of comparing. I'm trying to relearn this new path, this new way, because I believe each one of those paths is have something to teach to everybody, and I try to have all that in me and to apply it to whatever is coming ahead of me.
One of the things is similar, because I only went through a raising one time, but I feel like I get a chance to relive that. And that's why I like to go to be a part of other degrees for other candidates and other lodges if possible. I know how meaningful it is even when it's your first degree or the second degree, and the moment when you're brought to light and you're looking around and you see familiar and unfamiliar faces. But I don't want them to be stuck seeing empty chairs. I want them to feel like they're important and them being a part of what we do is meaningful. But then the second part is kind of yes for me, because I sit there and think, I didn't pick up on this when I was going through the first time, because my mind was in 100 different places that night, like everybody's was. But then I also have the benefit of now doing a little research and a little study of the ritual myself, and go, oh, that hits a little bit differently tonight than it did 8 years ago or 9 years ago or whenever it was. And now I think of you now because you have those dual speaker, honestly, when it comes to Masonic ritual. You can speak to both parts of it. So I think that that's really special for you. The one question that I just had to ask is, what does it feel like now that you're a Texas Freemason? Like, when you hear men of your lodge refer to you as brother, how does that hit differently now?
The word and the meaning of the word brother and the meaning of it, regardless if it's hermano or brother, is always something that it weighs heavy on me. And what I learned from the very beginning, and that's what I love about Onion Creek, that it carries that meaning that I learned, right? So if you're my brother, if I have the honor to call you a brother, that means I'm there for you, and I trust you. There's gonna be differences. There's gonna be different points of view. We're a social group, regardless, right? But the word brother and the meaning of that, or the word hermano, brother, or whatever translation will be, the meaning of that, and that it's something that I can relate to my old lodge or Onion Creek right now, is that the meaning, the respect, and the honor that calls somebody a brother is there. It weighs heavy. You still right now in the brothers that I met, that you can shake hands and say, I'm gonna do this, and that you don't need anything else. It is what it is. And for me, that's very important. I treasure that a lot. um there are some times that we have to do some work at the lodge, and I get it. I try to joke a little bit with Dennis. Like, I see pictures, like, hey man, we finished this. Why you didn't call me to help you out, man? What's wrong with you? And, oh, no, but it was something quick and easy, and I know you have the family going on. Okay, I legislate, but that's fine. But let me know when there's something going on, right? So, um, and with the brothers is it's just the other day, for example, I'm not a shrine, but a lot of my brothers are Shriners, and I had a situation with a good friend of ours from our family, and they were as in their daughter was having a medical problem. I was like, hey, it's something difficult. I know there's a shrine hospital in Mexico. Let me see if maybe they can refer me to somebody. Maybe they can help, because I know they're doing miracles over there. I sent one text message. Hey man, this is what's going on. Is there anybody that can refer me? Like, in 30 minutes. This is the person that need to talk to in Mexico, and he's part of the board, and we know that he comes here. He goes, this is the phone number, and he already know that you're gonna talk to him. Right there is the proof. Everybody's looking out for each other. I love that, and I'm gonna carry that.
It's hard to explain that to people that aren't in the fraternity, because we don't really use that term a lot. And when you think of fraternity, you think of, like, college guys getting drunk, in the front yard in front of their crappy house. But that's not the case with Freemasonry, and that it's these quiet superheroes, this network of them just behind the scenes, that if you need something, or someone that needs something, you are automatically connected to these folks. And it's just, as you said, a simple phone call, a text message, and bang, relief, charity, boom, two things that immediately come.
Yeah, it is like that. Mm-hmm.
You've been able to escape it, as much as I can tell. You got hit up to join the concordant bodies, which that happens. But usually after a newly, raised brother comes through, the next thing is like, hey, you should get in the officer line. Have you thought about being a steward of the lodge? What does it look like down the road for you when it comes to contributing? I'm sure they're like, hey, we have a past master in our midst now. Let's get him through the chairs.
Well, I talked to my wife, and I talked to my wife, and she gave me permission to be the steward. So that's it has to be talked to the manager. My manager is there. Again, today is lodge day, so we have to practice. Well, we're gonna practice installation also, because I'm gonna be the steward for the next worshipful master coming in. If tradition prevails, yes. I'm doing it more from the approach of I wanna help out to my lodge. Then the consequence of being there helping, maybe one day I'll be in that chair, but it's gonna come when I'm ready, and not before, not after.
Hey, it's Worshipful Brother Michael Arce. This summer, you can join Freemasons around the country in celebrating the bicentennial anniversary of Brother Marquis de Lafayette's final goodwill tour of the United States. Visit us online at craftsmanonline.com to view our extensive Lafayette bicentennial calendar. Now, this is featuring some really cool parades, Masonic events like history talks with Masonic historian and author and friend of the Craftsman Online podcast, Brother Chris Ruley. Also, the New York Grand Lodge Lafayette Gala, the Lafayette French degree that'll be taking place in the city, and so much more. Plus, at craftsmanonline.com, you can share your lodge's celebration or event and add it to our calendar. See what's happening this summer as we roll out the red carpet for the celebration of Lafayette's bicentennial, and add your event at craftsmanonline.com. So let's talk about the concordant bodies. Before we got started with the program tonight on camera, you were showing me a couple things. So what's it like being a Scottish Rite Mason now?
I'm back home. That's where everything started. I love it. I mean, that's the best way I can put it.
How much of the story is the same with the Scottish Rite Southern Masonic jurisdiction and your home jurisdiction?
Well, it's another turn, right? Into the York Rite, you're doing more like more of the Bible story about it that you follow. Here you go more deeper into the philosophical and esoteric work, and you start analyzing different religions, meanings, how that is being related to Masonry, maybe what is not. I remember when I went as a candidate of the Scottish Rite Masons on the banquet, one brother said something that I was like, I want to start this now. He said, like, all religions are right, but all religions, like have something different to offer. So, and then we just start studying it. Something that I'm just start doing it. It's a master craftsman program. I think that's the name that we have here in this other jurisdiction. You start going through books and learning what's the meaning behind the degrees, what they need to teach you, and go from the Kabbalah all the way to the Templar Knights and what's true, what is not. And the names of the degrees are also like kind of special. But all those stories to me are like kind of related because in my other part of Masonry, they made me write a lot, write and read a lot. That's part of the study that I know how to do it, and that's what I'm going back. The book that I show you is something that I just start scratching it, and my head is exploding all the time.
Just for the benefit for our listener, that's Albert Pike's Esoterica, which you have the Spanish version of that book.
One of the advantages of, besides having this beautiful accent, of having two languages with me, is that the prices of the books in English was like $142, and in Spanish is like 30 plus something. So I'll take it in Espanol, no problem. It's the same content, and maybe I'll find a different flavor.
Yeah, my Spanish is so bad that I probably would stand the same chance even if I read the English one, because Albert Pike is like 30,000 feet above my head when it comes to the concepts that he introduces. So,
oh man, I forgot to tell you, Brother John Nagy. I met him at the Grand Communication in Waco, Texas. And I don't know if I sent you the picture. I did send you the picture, I think.
You sent me the picture, yeah.
He signed one of the books that I got from him, and it was such a crazy moment, right? Because I heard him through the podcast many times, and I was walking with my brothers. I'm like, John Nagy, you've been to the Craftman Online? Like, yeah. Oh man, come here, give me a hug. Come here. Like I listened to you so many times, and to hear your books too. Like, oh, come here, give me this, give me that. Sign it, please. Thank you. Let me have a picture with it. And it was a fun moment.
Yes.
So I'm gonna do the same thing with Arturo de Hoyos, just to let you know.
I gotta get him on the podcast. So slip our card in his breast pocket so he can come on.
Oh, no problem. I give you his number.
Yes, please do. Before I let you go, I got to ask you a question about the last time that you were on here. As we mentioned, your episode landed in the top 10 most listened to Craftsman Online podcast episodes for 2023. What did your lodge brothers of your new lodge, Onion Creek Lodge, what did they think about that podcast episode and having a superstar amongst them?
I don't know if it's a superstar because people want to listen to me or they don't understand what I'm saying, that they have to play again. So I don't know. But something happened, right? I don't know what is it. They're just happy that I'm pursuing light, and they're happy about it. All the time that I have questions, all the time that I have, certain conversations with them about, Masonry, ritual, what it means that, why do we do this? And the conversations that we get into goes from something very philosophical or esoteric about the work to something like, hey, when are we going to go back to the Peruvian restaurant? Because I'm slowly dragging all my brothers to Peruvian food, right? And one time I went just with Dennis Ross and his wife, and everybody else got mad. So what's up with that? why you didn't tell us that we need that we can go to the Peruvian restaurant? Like, this was special for Dennis because as soon as became a Master Mason, this was my way to show my appreciation, and I wanted to invite him and his wife for letting me borrow him to steal time from them as a family so he can teach me my work. So that was my way to say thank you. And they're like, so what's up with that? They're like, yeah, and I mean, we can't go back. No, why you didn't call us? What's up? We're not your brothers now?
That's going to do things for this episode of the Craftsman Online Podcast. Again, I want to thank my hermano and my friend, my brother, Luis Diaz, for his time. If you've enjoyed this episode, a reminder, you should become a Craftsman Online subscriber. You can start your free 7-day trial with a link in the show notes for this episode. We're going to get some bonus time with Luis this Wednesday. He'll talk a little bit more about his Masonic journey, and also we'll feature some of our YouTube live streaming questions and get his answers. This is Right Worshipful Brother Michael Arce. I've enjoyed our time together so much. Until next Monday, let peace and harmony prevail.